You got the record on? Yeah, man. All right. So as I've started most of my emails, I'm Brian Savage, and it's my fault. Okay. So whatever, just apply it after that. We really appreciate you being here. Are we all a little bit happier now?
Yeah!
So again, if you weren't in Hasbro's panel, anyone in here that wasn't in Hasbro's panel? Okay. All right. Well, I got bad news for you. And the other guy that slept through part of the panel. Short names are great, right? Anyway, sorry. Well, I am, but we have been, our contract has been extended for 2 more years, which means continue doing all the things that we have been doing. Wait, maybe not all, but we're still doing the FSS.
I'm sure there's something
the club, the convention, and so the way some of this, and I'm getting out of, I don't think there's slides in here for me talking about all this, but the way some of this will work is that we did have to turn off the membership renewal, which we will turn back on for this week. So if your membership is still in effect, the membership renewals will just pick up right where they were again, okay? For the 2 months of people that would be May and June, if your membership ran out, what you'll have to do is go back. You can put a membership, turn them back on. This will happen playing middle next week. We'll turn the memberships back on, go back, put one in your card, log in, and then it will reattach it to your account and everything will be right back to where it was, okay? And then if you miss those 2 issues, we still have them. We have singles that we had overprinted just in case, so that you can still get those issues and not break your chain with what you have. So that's basically how it will start back up again. So this has all been like, how do we shut this down? It's not just walk in and flip the light switch off. We're not selling bed sheets at JCPenney's or something. So it took a lot of canoodling after we got the word that our contracts were not going to be renewed. And so we had to figure out how we shut this down in an orderly manner. And so now we have to undo all the things that we did to turn it all back on so that we continue on. So again, I want to thank you for your fandom. Okay, I guess I don't know if there's a better word. Dedication to the brand. Is there a better word?
Love.
Fan support. Love of the brand.
You said fandness?
Fandness, yes. They mean over the Uber fans. For your contacting Hasbro, Des, for the petition that you did, for the videos, for all the stuff that you let Hasbro know. I mean, and that's not what absolutely changed their mind. The person you could thank for all this is Daryl Priest. Thank Daryl for all his hard work, at Hasbro, because, he's been a G.I.Joe fan long before he ever worked in Hasbro. And so it is truly in his heart, to keep the brand going and keep the things running that are dear to everybody else's heart. And so he was the one that was able to recraft, what was going on and present it and run it through management and get it all signed off. So that's we've all been trying to work on this for a while, but we finally got something. This happened about 2 weeks ago. So again, to those of you I had personal conversations with, and I had gone, yes, yeah, and we'll have to see. We just do what Hasbro says. So I apologize for having to continue to be silent on that, but we wanted to announce it at the proper time, so that it would make everybody as most happy as they could be. So, without further ado, somebody's too happy. Yes, well, some of you may be too happy. We are in Colorado, so please try not to be too happy. Without further ado, to my left is Dave Lane. Dave is the mastermind of all 3 and 3/4-inch products ever produced by the club. So if you like it, come give him a hug. Well, no, give him a handshake. Dave's not really a hugger, but you can ask. Okay? But he's the one that helps coordinate ideas that we get from you. And we do have limits on what we can do for some things and other things based on tools and what Hasbro's doing and what we've done in the past and counts and great job and all that stuff. So thank you, Dave. Next to Dave is the Lenny Latham himself, the rock star. You can see he's now finally the inner rock star, persona out. And Lanny handles all of the visual art, any deco, anything you see from us, and probably maybe even some of the things you hear from us, Lanny's touched it in some way, shape, or form. And so, he has magical fingers on a computer, and he can do all kinds of wondrous things. He's what I refer to as a politician's worst nightmare, because he can put you in any picture, anytime, any place, anywhere, and you can't tell the difference. Okay, and he'll talk about some of his work here a little bit later. And to his left is Pete Sinclair. Pete has handled all of our marketing, our PR. He got like the television station here yesterday for the parachute drop. He also handles the artists, the comic book, the scripts, and all those types of things, and keeps all that production part of the business running. So this is our team. Y'all know Angie and Karen back in the booth, if you've ever followed the club. If you ever do have a problem, I have 2 words for you. Be nice. Okay? Because sometimes they can help you, and sometimes they're not going to help you. Okay? And sometimes you may ask for me, and you're not going to get a different answer, because they've already talked to me, okay? So be nice to them, because they really do take the brunt of a lot of issues. They are great people, and you need to personally thank them for their work, with the organization as well. So, I guess that's a long enough intro, isn't it? So, I'm going to turn this over to Lanny now, because I've never seen this slideshow, so we'll see how it goes.
Can I hear that ponytail thing again? That was...
Lanny's ponytail! Lanny's ponytail!
All right.
Hey.
This is actually the second ponytail I've had in my lifetime. This is Generation 2 ponytail. 2.0. Transformers. Generation 2. Wrong brand. Okay. But no, I had a ponytail back when I was not old, but I just gave up and thought, hey, what the heck?
Where are the pictures?
Where are the pictures? Give me your email address and I'll send
Did you
it.
say Fabio?
You got it, baby.
I have a special website that has a membership fee. And,
Anyway, going on.
These are jokes.
Lanny'sFannies.com.
Okay. Clicking. Clicking to the right.
It would help if it was plugged into the computer.
Oh, wait. Plug the ball back in. Figures. On the wrong computer.
Try now.
There. Oh.
Yay!
There we go.
It's just a brother. It's just an app. Welcome to the Club Roundtable 2016 in Loveland, Colorado. This is box art for our lovely Skype Patrol set this year. Those are actual clouds taken out back of the offices and manipulated heavily to look really bizarre and kind of chemically induced vision sort of clouds. And we took the Skype Patrol logo and kind of dressed it up a little bit with some
They didn't even catch that.
I know. I'm trying to make every drug reference I can.
I got it. I said something.
Nobody's playing.
I heard chemically induced. I got those.
You got those. They look familiar by now, right? These are just the mock-up images though, from back when we did the decos. These aren't the actual toys. Now we go back. Now we're talking a little bit about how we developed the thing. These are the actual head-turn drawings that were done that went to the 3D sculptures. Okay, and did Troy do these? Yes. Troy McKee did these.
Wow.
So that's where it started. And then there's another one. Okay, now this goes off to the sculptors, and these are the 3D turns that are generated in software. They don't actually sculpt in plastic or wax like they used to. I guess some people still do. But these are all generated based on the line drawings give you a very sort of head turn thing where you see all sides and everything. And it creates a 3D model that can then be generated in a 3D printer. And that's how the hard copies initialize. That's from the souvenirs. Those are the digital head turns for the souvenirs, which I think they turned out really nice. And then this is what's printed. And then this is what actually goes to China for the tooling to be made to cast them in production plastic. And they're pretty close. And you can see it really creates a strong degree of control because you're going through the drawing to the 3D model to the output of the 3D model, and I think it gives you a really incredible level of detail that might not necessarily happen in a traditional method. Those are the other two. How about that smirk?
He's happy, he's really smarmy.
Okay, and in the past we've shown Photoshop mock-ups, but I decided to go one step further and show you the actual build that actually is put together. You know, that's a hard copy, and that's the 3D printed head on top of the build.
Which is not really on it, right?
What?
It's Photoshop.
No, the head's actually. We actually had the printed head when I built these for that. And so then I photographed that, as you see there, and then using Photoshop, do the mock-up image to show what the character is going to look like, approximately. Not 100% color, but approximately what the color is going to be. And then that image is used this way. So I have to do a reverse shot, and of course then the glider accessory pack. And then everything where there is a color is called out with a color code in a Pantone book that has some odd 8 million colors in it. And then this becomes what's called, this is the deco guide that they use to create paint masks and pick the paint colors and the plastic colors in China at the factory. It's the same kind of thing in one of the souvenirs. There's the build with the 3D head print, and then the color mock-up made in Photoshop. The great thing about this is if you go back to when originally 3D4 was done in the 80s, you know, everybody's familiar, a lot of people probably, with paint masters. They would do these, were they two-up paint masters where they had a model of the figure they were going to make that was this big, and then it would be painted by hand, and then that went to China, and that was the guide for what the final figure was going to look like. This is the digital age version of that. But the great thing about it is it allows you to get a very sort of tight expectation of what the figure is going to look like in production. So once your samples start coming from China, it's really easy to call it up and go, wow, yeah, this actually hit pretty close to what I was going for. And it gives you a good degree of control. There's your deco sheet for this guy, and of course he had his glider pack, which mimicked the original accessory in terms of color scheme and the camo pattern. The vehicle from this year, they wanted to see a lot of angles on this, which I'm not sure really was necessary, but they asked, so I did.
Talk about the chrome issues.
The
We don't
chrome.
know these.
Okay. Originally, we wanted to do the vehicles, the silver vehicles, in back metallized chrome, so as a throwback, you know, to the original Sky Force. But they told us no. So they basically just said we can't do it.
Well, there's a lot of, back metallization process is very bad for the ecosystem, so it's not done a whole lot now, and so it can be done, but it's extremely expensive, and for large items, not going to happen.
One particular factory that this vendor used to do back metal had actually been shut down in China because it wasn't conforming to the environmental specs for doing that kind of work. So we had to come up with a solution for that. And what we had to do is mold parts that were going to be silver in a silver metallic plastic, which is, you've seen silver metallic plastic, it's not very silver, it's just a little silver. But that started as the base. And then they added a silver metallic paint to that, and then came back and did a gloss varnish on top of that. So it created a very nice look, and when the samples came, I was really pleased. Knowing it wasn't going to be back metal, I thought this, like the Sky Strike, for example, it looked pretty spectacular. I thought it looked very real world, the way the finish came out. Oh, one thing about this, I've talked to some people about this. We actually found out, just serendipity, that this vehicle will friction fit on top of the Sky Striker and will actually ride.
Yeah, so if you squeeze the fins just a little bit, you can slide the runners against it and let go, and it will pretty much hang there. It looks like it's attached to it.
Fold the wings up, and it looks like it's sort of piggybacking against the shuttle vehicle. I'd like to say we planned that, but it just got
No, I was just messing with the office and go, hey, look.
And there's the Sky Striker. And these are mock-ups. And this is a challenge too when I do these decos. When I was working on these, the original thought was that we would try to get them back metallized. That didn't work out, but in the meantime, I was trying to make them look as shiny as possible from photographs of other existing toys, just to convey concept. The Cobra Hydra, which they initially didn't use the correct plastic. We called it as it's blue and a metallic, and they actually made the change, and it came out. I think it came out with a pretty nice sort of unique finish. The 12-inch set. This was interesting. You know, this is a continuation of what we did last year on the 12-inch set. In '69, they did a very limited range of 12-inch figures called Adventures of G.I. Joe, which sort of fit in between the military era and the adventure team. And there was a little slot of time where they weren't 100% sure what they were going to do transitioning out of military. So in that time was Adventures of G.I. Joe, which featured red top boxes, and these interesting sort of painted photos that they use as illustration on the packaging. What they'd actually do is photograph the figure, and then an artist would come back and paint on top of the photograph. No computers, it's 1969, right? So then they photographed that, and that became the box art. Last year, we did that with the Adventurer, and the Fantastic Freefall set. And we had a good sample. We got good scans of that we could bring in, do some pretty heavy retouch on in Photoshop, and rebuild the box. When it came time to do this one this year, which is the Aquanaut figure, which was the only two 12-inch figures released that year were the Adventure and the Aquanaut. So when we set out to do this, we couldn't find a good resource for a good box to work from. So we're kind of stuck. So I told Brian, I said, you know what, let's just remake it from nothing. So we started out, we commissioned Larry Sullivan, who's here, to do the background painting, the ocean floor, the water, the octopus, the chest, and he ended up giving so much better painting than the vintage box had by far. If you ever get a chance to see one.
Yeah, because the vintage one had a black octopus that's not near the octopus that's in this set.
Then I reshot the sea diver, the deep sea diver on my tabletop little photo studio, and then composited the elements together so you actually have a real 12-inch G.I. Joe interaction with the painting of an octopus. So that's a real good these boxes also featured a child playing with the toy, and so we needed a child.
We had one. It's Maverick. So my son Maverick was working in the store. I shot the pictures of him.
How old is he?
He's 13 now.
So for lucky for us, 13 years ago, Brian
yeah,
knew that one day he was going to want to do a box.
Yeah, Brian, we needed a child model. So thank you, Becky, for doing that.
It's really great because he was of my children and his children that we had access to. He was, at this juncture, he had the only one that was young enough to fit. So Brian actually did the model photography with the toy that replaced everything else. And so this has been completely constructed from scratch to give us a reproduction. And I'm not sure anything's ever really been reproduced like that, where it's all completely new.
Yeah, because we aped the pose, the whole thing. We had a picture there looking at it, no, move now. And Maverick really didn't like it much, did you, Maverick? No.
So inside the box, you get the long box figure, and you see it uses the same art. I found side panels for the long box. I actually I had a good copy of the long box, but I wanted the art to match the outer box. But the side panels are vintage, and then Brian does more photography at the top that Brian did with Maverick, and this is the Aquanaut, the other figure from '69 that comes inside the set. And mimicking what we did last year, we did the vintage reproduction set, approximate vintage reproduction, which is the white diver, and then we did an inversion of the color scheme to do something different. Last year it was the Fantastic Freefall, so we gave him a black jumpsuit and a black helmet, a black vest, a black shirt, parachute pack. And so we did something similar, and I'd actually come across some reference some years ago for a diving suit that actually had silver hardware and a black suit.
I think it was a Russian suit.
I think it was. I think it was a Russian diving suit. So this is not just complete fantasy. This actually has a basis. I couldn't find the photo when I looked for it, but that was sort of the inspiration for that was a Russian deep sea diver. Here you can see the comparison in the art. We mimicked it. We didn't try to just be, slavish to it. But you can see in the upper right-hand corner, those are the panels from the original packaging, from the long box at the top on the right and on the left from the actual outer box. And you can see Brian did a pretty good job. I wasn't even around when he did that. So he doesn't need me that bad. Okay, there on the left, that's the original. And that's a very sort of Hanna-Barbera-ish approximation of your Convention Octogram comic. It's another crossover set. What was that?
Somebody get that medic ball.
Medic? Excuse me, medic. Someone is from the league. The cool thing about this set is, even though it is a Transformer crossover set, you might not like Transformers, it comes with 3 great G.I. Joe figures. Yeah, see? This is the art for the box. This is going to be a front panel, a bookcase style box where the panel will flip open, and then there will be a blister pack which will have all the figures inside.
And you get you see the homage we went for there on the cover?
Yep.
Yeah, it's issue 139, and that was actually, Chris Batista actually did the cover, who did the cover for 139, so this is 139.5.
So I think that cover features Megatron holding a hologram.
Well, no, Megatron's holding...
Cobra, he's actually holding Cobra Commander in his hand on that cover. And so Pete's idea was to do an inversion of that idea and have Cobra Commander actually holding a hologram projector. This explains why Megatron is shorter than Cobra Commander.
He's showing Megatron the new body he's going to provide him for trading the technology on the ark.
Right.
Which was the comic story.
And so the Megatron figure is not Megatron per se. He is the holographic projection of Megatron. And so part of his body parts are translucent green, and that's why, if you're wondering. But in the set, you get Ninja Force Scarlet. And after we finish, you can come up. I've got them up here. After we get done, you can come up here and check it out, take some pictures and stuff. Here's Ninja Force Scarlet right here. Dr. Sidney Nichols Jones here. And a really tricked out decolorized Cobra Commander that's comic accurate to the color schemes from that storyline from back in the day. And then, who is this Pete?
This is Black Cat.
Black Cat?
It's green.
He's green? Part of him is black. We could call him Black and Green Cat, but that would have been silly. Okay, and then we have Rat Bat. And then the little boom box toaster.
So if you're not aware, and this was no big deal to throw these in, but since it is a crossover, on the Transformer side, it seems like it's a challenge. The more obscure you can get, the more they love it. So Black Cat appeared in one panel of a German magazine from the 80s, and Toaster appeared in one panel of some whatever thing. So they're just kind of little nods, and of course there's this, just like there is on the Joe panel, and the Transformers fandom, there's this hardcore contingent that just loves the super obscure stuff, and there'll be people who buy the whole set, won't want anything, but they'll just want the Black Cat. So that's how I think it.
So it is a crossover set, but it leans heavily G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
I recreated the Ninja Force logo from the packaging from the era. The issue that this is sort of an homage to, this is when the comic was, starring Snake Eyes. G.I. Joe, starring Snake Eyes. So rather than star Snake Eyes, which it doesn't, we use the Ninja Force logo from the packaging.
Yeah, pull up the other, I don't think we've done the comparison or something.
What's that?
Did you have a side-by-side?
No.
Well, pull up the old cover and check it out. We'll start
Okay, for our figure subscription 5.0, of course, we were informed our contract would be expiring, so we had to really bear down and focus on a more core character-centered FSS to finish out our final group of figures. So like I said, we were hard-pressed to get approvals from Hasbro and to come up with a batch of figures that you guys had requested that we could fit into one of the final groups of favorite and I guess requested key characters to fill in the famous holes that are left in your collection.
If you ever had your keyhole built, you know how people like it. Come on! I know. Okay,
So
here we go.
again, before we go, we did have final mock-ups. The approval came in from Hasbro a little later, and then we had to pretty much just get similar to what we did in the previous years. Just we're going to show the name and faction or groups that the characters belong to, and then we'll have the mock-ups and what the characters' final decos will look like before you do the pre-ordering. Brian will announce that when that's ready to go. But without further ado, here's the lineup. So going back again, a core character from the 1990s collection, Ambush. We have a great opportunity to get him into our FSS and make him, we're going to go down the list pretty much alphabetically, so since he's A, that's how we're showing the list pretty much. So the next one. And not to have the blowtorch syndrome, but everybody did request the classic deco of Charbroil, so this is why we're releasing Charbroil. However, he will be different than when we released from the Night Force. This version will not have a face, it will be a masked version, so that will make it a different version compared to your convention set. And then, of course, if you wanted him unmasked, then you have the convention figure. You can, of course, swap the head, and you can have the unmasked version from the combined FSS convention figure. So, the one year we did the Iron Man Gear set that we included a souvenir of Darklon. We got tremendous feedback on that great ability to release the figure, and a lot of people that didn't make it to the convention didn't have the ability to acquire one. However, the convention set that we did was a kind of a prequel to one of the comic stories where the October Guard and Iron Grenadiers had first met. So we did kind of a pre-concept version of Darklon. So the version of the FSS will be slightly different and a more modernized version of Darklon, and he will be more of a courier theme. So you can, pair him if you have the vintage vehicle, and he can take on any assignment that Destro assigns him to. And plus, it gives the people that missed out on our convention souvenir a chance to add that figure to your collection. And he'll be carded for the first time, obviously. And once again, filling in one of the major holes, but this is the general, of the 1990s collection. And of course, we're going to do General Flag similar to his second Battle Corps release. So he'll have a unique jacket, and he'll kind of fill in the role where Hawk's busy. He will now be the strategic commander, and hopefully he'll be the centerpiece when you do your G.I. Joe displays after you have all the FSS 5 figures. Well, a lot of people saw this coming.
Version 4.
We did the Iron Anvils, which was, of course, part of our Iron Man Gear set from a previous convention set, and you saw we did do a new head sculpt, which when we did the original O-ring version was a replica of the 1994 Battlefield Viper, and so now we kind of did it the opposite way. So we did our Iron Animals first, and now we have the head sculpt that we can replicate and make another Cobra Viper that's again more Battlefield light infantry, so it's a little bit different than the standard Cobra Viper. He'll be kind of a light infantryman, and I don't know if we'll tone down the colors too much because a lot of you like the neon colors, but we'll make it more of the military faction that Cobra can use before the main ground forces go in, and that kind of design will hopefully lead them into their famous battles with Cobra Commander from the FF or the crossover set. And as you can see, again, choosing 4 characters, mainly from the 1990s era now. So we're going to fill in the position of the anti-armor trooper. So we're going to do Salvo. However, based on available tooling, he will be, I would say, more of a Pursuit of Cobra-esque version. So he won't be exactly his vintage version because of the accessories and the cost of new tooling. So we're going to kind of replicate him, but give him an edge to be more of a modernized, as they did with some of the characters from the Pursuit of Cobra line. And again, a lot of you key-eyed collectors caught right away that when we showed the Sky Patrol Airborne 6 that there would be a great way to use that head sculpt again, and we were way ahead of you, so we've got enough combination of parts to go ahead and execute a figure of the G.I. Joe team's top communications and journalists, and so we will offer him as part of our subscription service. And unfortunately, we didn't have the ability to do a survey this year, but from the previous surveys, of course, you guys kept putting Raptor down, so eventually he ended up at the top of the list. We presented that name to Hasbro, and they finally gave us the thumbs up, so we will do a modern year version of Raptor.
Unbelievable. Does not think that. Which version?
So we have, I guess the last drop of our FSS 4 will be coming up, and that will of course feature the Tiger Force sneak peek. And we did some new tooling on him to replicate a more modern version of that periscope. So again, a lot of you immediately said, well, if we have Tiger Force, I want the classic deco. So this is what our representation on FSS 5 will be, the more modern colored, or the original colored classic version of sneak peek. Now, real quick, a show of hands. If we do this figure, would you want to see a change in the vest? Yes, raise your hands.
Change in the vest?
Yes, to change the vest that it comes with. The Tiger Force version between the classic version. Okay, hands down. Now, if you want the same version that comes in the Tiger Force, raise your hand.
No, I think I'm going with that.
Okay, thank you.
That didn't really help. I like we just made it.
And Hurley's kind of local vest.
What the? Oh my God.
And many of you that receive our club magazine,
Oh my God.
And many of you that receive our club magazine, if you've noticed, we took your feedback from previous conventions. You gave us word that you didn't like to see just 1 or 2 comic pages. So over the course of this year, we were able to do 6 pages per, or in a bi-monthly release schedule. And we did feature this character pretty heavily in, was one storyline, but it kind of got split between 2 years. So this character was featured in our 2015, and then we finished up one of her key storylines this year and had the main focus, or at least to have a counterpart for the previous FSS figure of our Scar leader, which was of course Iron Claw. And again, based on available tooling, so we're gonna have to come up with our best version we can to replicate what the original Steel Raven uniform and design looked like.
What?
Now, don't let this name fool you. Of course, we had to present Hasbro and get approval on doing a figure that, of course, was part of our Shattered Glass storyline that we did in the Adventure Team comic as part of our Club Magazine mythos. And we featured a story where the Adventure Team went into an alternate time zone where, Cobra and Joe forces had not exactly opposite mirror images of their classic selves, and there was a version of Zaymod. However, he had the dysfunction of having kind of a split personality, so he was his own brother. He had that split personality. But again, don't let the name fool you, because this version, if you remember from the comic, is pretty much a replica of how he looked like from the Sunbow cartoon, and he will feature a new head sculpt. So again, we had to focus pretty much on core 1990 characters to fill in a lot of the slots that decade batch of characters from previous FSSs required, and then we wanted to also offer one of the international figures to kind of fill out where we left off from the previous FSS. So now Jammer has his partner in the Z-Force team.
Wait, what?
This is 7, so that was the 12 before we split. That was the 12 figures that we're announcing, of course, at the end of a successful FSS purchase, and you receive 12 figures, you will get a bonus 13th figure, and we will give you some hints as we get closer to the pre-order date on what the 13th figure may or may not be, and then you'll be able to pre-order. You have an ordering window, and then once you completed that on the last shipment, you get that bonus figure. Now, what we announced for the previous year, we had to shift a little bit because of what our timeline and our schedule would be for this year, and we tried to maximize the amount of figures we could do and stay within our budget to complete out the year. So we had to shift doing what we announced the previous year that was on our schedule, so we had to push the heart wrencher out, and so we decided it would be more cost feasible to do a Troop 3-pack as not really an add-on, but the additional club exclusive you could purchase at the club store this year. So what we're doing is a 3-pack of Cobra female troopers. And the female troopers will feature a new female masked head sculpt, removable helmet. She will use our more modern torso, and of course she'll be geared up to actually complement what Hasbro just announced at their panel. They're doing a female Cobra officer, so these troopers will now have a leader.
Yes!
So, now that we do have the extended contract, we still plan to do a figure vehicle combo, but it probably won't get done this year. We'll focus on getting the 3-pack basically produced and out into your hands, hopefully by the end of the year, maybe fall or winter time. And so that kind of pushed again what we want to do with the vehicle with the figure. And as I said in our previous roundtable, it really, depended on sales for other vehicles. So, we're looking to gain a little bit more sales to reduce the inventory in the stock before we can execute another figure vehicle combo. So again, it helps if you're able to purchase our other vehicles to reduce the inventory, and then that will allow us to go forward with the execution of this figure. However, also a change from what we had announced previous year. Since we have this time extension, we were going to just replicate Heart Wrencher using existing parts, but now if we move the budget to 2017, we will be able to do a new female head sculpt for Heart Wrencher. So she will have a new head, and of course, included with the vehicle.
Yeah, see, so you already have these, right?
Yep. Right.
Okay, well, we didn't have anything ready yet for next year. So, but there will be membership figures next year, but we don't have anything to show you yet. But so in the meantime, this is last year's or this year's.
Any hints? Hints? Yeah, any hints?
So anyway, everybody like Python? Anybody take her ponytail out and put the hood up on her head? Yeah. Pretty cool.
The pleats are awesome.
The what?
The pleats.
The pleats? Oh, on the cape?
And the fingers.
The cloth.
Okay, thank you. Don't leave yet.
We're not done yet.
There's one more slide.
For you 12-inch collectors, before we go to the last slide, we had already in process a way to end the line that we had done in 12-inch. So what we have coming to you, we don't have it quite ready to show, but it's actually going to be a couple of figures based on a 12-inch Super Joe concept. So I think you'll find that as an interesting way. It's going to be very limited. It's going to be about 300 pieces of each figure. But I think you'll get a big kick out of it when you see the way we've kind of mashed up some of these Super Joe figures and brought them into the 12-inch line, complete with their villain they have to fight. So
They'll also come with a 12-inch Adventure Team Mirror style mini comic, which ties in the Super Joe mythos in a really cool way to get adventure.
And so room for questions before we go, but like I said, we found out about the contract extension about 2 weeks ago that they were finally going to move forward with it. So Brian got on the phone as fast as he could, talked to a hotel property in Fairbanks, Alaska. No, not really. It's actually one we've been to before, so I had a lot of contacts. I had kind of done some preemptive stuff before to see if the dates were available. So believe it or not, I got a signed contract yesterday for next year's convention. So we're going to tell you now. Lane, you go and flip the slide.
Valid. Knew it.
We feel really bad about the things that have happened in Florida the last couple of days, and we kind of waffle on whether or not if I got the contract signed yesterday, whether or not we were going to announce it. But we felt like we're not going to let anybody take anything away from us, change our plans.
Yeah.
We need to show support for the community there, so we want to go ahead and get this out there so you can start planning now. It'll probably be 2-3 weeks or something like that till we actually have a page up and a portal that you can go and make your room reservations. But we will be at the Walt Disney Swan and Dolphin next year. So we hope to see you all there. Just a couple of questions real quick. Flip the lights on and lights on. You flip this, put them on. Never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah. So at
Oh, sorry, I didn't announce. Okay, so here's the deal. We have been so crammed. We are on the timeline as soon as the decos are done.
Go ahead.
Then we will put them online and we will start the order period. So we're estimating the order period should end sometime in July or August. Okay, so we're hoping to have these in-house, as quick as we can get them from that. So all this has gone to China, the build sheet, so they can start. The heads are done, I think.
Yes.
So the heads are done, so they can go ahead and start their work while we go through the final decos and then the order period.
So when I get back to office,
Don't call and ask for him, 'cause he's busy.
my first order of business is going to be to deco FSS5. Do the figure bills and do the deco process, so that'll start happening pretty quick.
Right. Another question?
Ask Helen, how are we going to do a walk around without a phone? This battery's dying too.
Name's Tony. Not a question. I just want to thank the whole Joe crew for all the hard work out there. Thank you.
Well, thank you for your support.
Say something to that. It's been a weird time, not knowing what's going to happen exactly.
You're showing up on camera.
I really appreciate all of you who came to this show, everybody sitting in this room. You made my life better, my family's life better, and so I want to thank you guys for supporting us.
I was wondering if it's inside the Walt Disney World and we need to pay the entrance fee, or is it in a hotel?
Oh, no. The hotel is outside the park. So no, you don't have to have an entrance fee to get in the park, to go to the property. No. Too soon.
Maybe I didn't understand you, but you said that it's renewed beyond the end of the year. Does that mean our memberships we just paid for will be beyond the
Yeah, Karen will be working on anybody's membership that was going to end at the end of the year. Will now go back to the full 12 months of whenever it started to end correctly. Okay, it's going to take her a little bit. Don't jump on them real quick, because she's got to go through a lot of memberships now to correct that. So that will be corrected, as well as, like I said, the auto billing will turn back on. And you'll get the email that, hey, your membership's going to renew in 3 days, make sure your credit card's all okay, and then it'll do the same rebilling process before it kills the membership, okay?
Hey, speaking of that, membership, I want to make a really quick point. I think we tweeted this out as we were kind of winding down things a few months ago, but I tracked the numbers for the last 4 or 5 years as the up and down of both the Transformers and Joe Club. And at the end of it, this wasn't just because people were buying duplicate memberships. That actually was very, very small. People wanted to get 2 pythonas or different magazines all the way through the end of the year. But at the March 16th deadline this year, the G.I.Joe Club was actually the strongest and the largest I think it had ever been. So that's kind of amazing if you think about it. So, while brand is, had challenges here and there, and it looks like it's on an awesome rebound right now. The core